A Ukrainian Mavic drone captures the movement of a Russian IFV heading towards recently reclaimed positions in the Kursk region. The situation is also being monitored on the screens at the command post. The IFV confidently continues moving forward and soon spots 2 tanks ahead. The Russians likely assume these are knocked out and abandoned vehicles. However, the tanks turn out to be Ukrainian and fully combat ready. The turret of the first tank begins to rotate and fires at close range. After the hit, the smoke begins to clear, revealing the shocked crew members scattering in different directions. One of them runs towards the tree line, while the others, panicking, dash into the open field. Later, Ukrainian forces took them captive. Meanwhile, the second tank fires, finishing off the abandoned vehicle. Just take a look and listen to how emotionally the command post reacts to the success. And now, take a look at another unusual situation in the Kursk region. Ukrainian drone operators destroy heavy equipment right in the middle of the road. Look, the vehicle has almost completely blocked the path and continues to detonate. Shortly after, the movement of an armored vehicle is detected. The crew realizes that a Ukrainian kamikaze drone is hunting them. They quickly begin reversing and stop between a pile of charred metal that was once a vehicle and an APC, which had nearly flipped over and gotten stuck on the roadside. Look, you can clearly see how 4 Russian soldiers quickly abandon the vehicle and flee from the open area to the greenery near the road. The kamikaze drone strikes the abandoned armored vehicle, igniting a fire. Furthermore, something unexpected occurs. The flames begin to spread to the APC that is sitting on the roadside. The explosion caused by the detonation of shells that were likely inside the APC also destroys it. The Russians can be said to have helped the Ukrainian drone kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's almost 6 in the morning, and this car, filled with Russian assault troops, is moving across an open field, navigating through craters left by artillery shells. They are heading toward Ukrainian positions located here, and are also setting up defenses in the partially intact structures. But look at the field. They're undeterred by the fact that it's most likely mined and under the fire control of artillery, which is now beginning to target them. The shells explode nearby but miss their target. The vehicle was almost at its destination when an anti-tank mine suddenly shattered all of the Russians' plans. Look, just a moment before the explosion, you can see that there were less than 100 meters left to the Ukrainian trenches. Ten minutes later, another car was spotted attempting to pass nearby via a different route, but heading toward the same target. The drone operator closely monitors it. Inside the vehicle are 6 stormtroopers. Note that the car is missing its doors, as they deliberately removed them to exit the vehicle quickly in case of danger. To test their ability to react swiftly to threats, a kamikaze drone is deployed. Some of them failed the test, while the rest took cover in a nearby bunker. Another drone continued to carry out its mission. Soon after, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the Russians finally located and dispatched an IFV. However, this was no longer a surprise, and the Ukrainian forces deployed a drone that struck the vehicle. Almost immediately, the IFV came to a halt, and the Russian soldiers abandoned it, fleeing in different directions. Meanwhile, another drone was launched to finish off the IFV. In their panic, the Russians, as usual, left the vehicle's doors open, which allowed for a more efficient use of drones to destroy the machine. The third attempt ended in complete failure, as even the lightly armored vehicle, with various modifications against drones, was ineffective. The abandoned IFV was left to burn. Perhaps the secret to success lies in the quantity of equipment? Let's find out by examining the next situation. The assault, involving more than 5 vehicles, began under the cover of smoke screens. Russian equipment, under artillery fire, tries to advance toward the Ukrainian stronghold. In addition to the artillery fire, drones joined the resistance. One of them heads for a frontal collision with a turtle tank, whose armor is further reinforced with metal shields, and a mine-clearing plow is mounted at the front. That didn't save it from being destroyed. Look at this hit and the explosion from another drone that was adjusting the artillery fire. Notice how high the turret flew. The column began to stretch out and scatter in different directions. The destroyed equipment stands motionless. A kamikaze drone catches up to another IFV. Look from another angle. Direct hit. A fire breaks out, forcing the vehicle to stop. This vehicle had surged ahead and managed to advance further, but artillery was targeting it. A major mistake was the decision to start turning around. The trees on both sides prevented a quick maneuver, leaving it stuck in place. This gave the artillery time to take aim and destroy the armored vehicle. The other members of the group veered off the field and began wandering through the streets of a destroyed village. But the buildings didn't give them any advantage against the drones. The rest were stopped by kamikaze drones near the railway and on the outskirts. The offensive failed, and the damaged and abandoned equipment was left for drone operators to hone their skills, as they began dropping explosives into vulnerable spots and open hatches. This enraged the Russians, and later that night, they attempted to target Ukrainian positions with a BM-21 MLRS, fully loaded with 122mm rockets. After such an explosion, it can be said that nothing remains of the vehicle. Additionally, an IFV was already heading towards Ukrainian positions to deploy infantry immediately after the bombardment. The first drone delivers a strike. The second drone completely and irreversibly destroys the vehicle, thwarting the Russians' plans. Donetsk region, where yet another incredible amount of equipment is involved in an assault attempt. The first APC is blown up by an anti-tank mine. Another APC almost reached its target, driving up close to the Ukrainian trenches. However, it too was met with a hidden mine. The explosion triggers an immediate detonation that utterly destroys the vehicle. From the other flank, a tank with a mine plow breaks through the tree line, charred from shelling. These three vehicles have fared worse. However, after hitting a few mines, the plow of the tank can't take it anymore, and on the next mine, the tank itself is blown to pieces. The advance continues, but it is completely thwarted by preset mines. Just look at the trouble this tank has gotten itself into. The remaining group started retreating, with the infantry scattering into the nearby greenery. One of the retreating tanks had the worst luck. Just look at the dense minefield it encountered. There were as many as 5 explosions. Ukrainian forces are not only repelling Russian assaults involving various amounts of equipment. An important task is the destruction of logistics and different types of weaponry being used behind the front lines. The Russians brought a truck loaded with shells, intended for the nearby 2 S-7 self-propelled artillery system. However, HIMARS disrupted their logistical efforts. The cluster munition explodes, and in just a moment, a powerful explosion. As a result, the ammunition truck was literally vaporized, and the artillery system sustained significant damage, making it unlikely to perform its functions in the near future. A drone is observing the relocation of a BM-27 Uragan. The vehicle covers a considerable distance and eventually halts in a dense grove of trees. Perhaps the camouflage would have worked in a different scenario, but not this time. The same fate befell a radar station that the Russians had positioned near the ruins of a destroyed building. This radar system usually operates in tandem with the SA-10 Grumble surface-to-air missile system. It's a costly and rare target, and a drone is already on its way to destroy it. Negligence in camouflage has played a cruel trick on the equipment. Nearby, several 122mm M1963 howitzers were spotted. The first one was destroyed. The second is located near industrial buildings. A precise strike, and the target is hit. Not only stationary targets are being destroyed, such as this SA-11 Gadfly surface-to-air missile system. When the equipment is on the move, the task becomes more complex, but skilled Ukrainian drone operators never back down from a challenge. Feel free to like the video if you enjoy watching how skillfully Russian military equipment is being taken out.